you want. I've been getting chicken, baby, I can be your sponsor. It'd be really fun to rearrange your guts.
Gang, what's good, Hoopla gang? It's your boy Hoopla here, back with another video. I got an interesting video today. It's on Twitter, there's kind of been like this thing. They make a triangle and they have the GOATs or the greatest of all time or the best of right now. Picture's gonna be right here for y'all. I'm looking at it down here on my laptop. It's a GOAT pyramid of NBA players, right? And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I'm a basketball player. I love basketball. I like to see myself as a basketball historian. Pertaining to that, they did a GOAT pyramid, which I totally do not agree with. A couple of them are in the right spots, but I feel like some of the people who made this live in the now. See what people are doing now, and they don't appreciate what people did back then. And I feel like they're undermining a couple of people while overstating others. So, firstly, I'm gonna go through this pyramid from the bottom to top. I'm gonna name the players, either say yes or no. And then after I go through all of them, I'm gonna give you guys my changes. And with that being said, let's start a conversation down in the comments on Instagram, on Twitter. Tell me what you agree with me. Tell me if you disagree with me. Tell me who you would put where. Tell me who you would take off, who you would put on. We're gonna start with tier 5 at the bottom. At the bottom, I'm not gonna lie to you, these middle 3 people right here, the white boy, the black guy, and the black and white guy, it's slipping my mind. I do not know. They look familiar, but I do not know their names. And I don't feel like looking it up. So, tier 5, we're going to go left to right, is John Stockton, Clyde Frazier, 3 people I don't know, Scottie Pippen, AI, Vince Carter, Steve Nash. As far as Clyde Frazier and John Stockton, that's a yay. The 3 people I'm not going to talk on, so I'm just going to leave them there. Scottie Pippen, I put that as a yay. Allen Iverson, yes. Vince Carter, no. Vince Carter is no. Steve Nash, yeah. Tier 4, we got Karl Malone, Kevin Garnett, Isaiah Thomas, Dwayne Wade, the Admiral David Robinson, the Big O, Steph, Prince Charles Barkley, Sir Charles Barkley, and we got Jerry West. I agree with everyone but from Kevin Garnett down. I agree with them. I do not believe Karl Malone should be in tier 4. Tier 3, we have Dirk. Yes. We got Tim. No. We got Julius Erving, I believe. I think that's Julius Erving. I think that's Dr. J. Is that? Yeah, that's Dr. J. I believe that. Kevin Durant. No. Bill Russell. Yes. Larry Bird. Hell no. Lou Alcindor in tier 3? Fuck no. Niggas is wildin'. So, with that being said, tier 2. Now we're coming up on the tier 2. Hakeem Olajuwon, Hakeem the Dream. Yes, I can live with that. Kobe? No, I cannot live with that. Shaq? No, I cannot live with that. Magic? No, I cannot live with that. And Wilt Chamberlain. No, I cannot live with that. With that being said, tier 1, LeBron James, of course he's tier 1. Michael Jordan is not tier 1. I'm sorry to all y'all, Michael Jordan is not a tier 1 basketball player. Tier 5, I agree with everyone, except I would not put Vince Carter on this list. Now, Vince Carter is a great player. I believe he's a Hall of Fame. He's definitely the first ballot Hall of Famer in my book. The way he revolutionized the game, he was the most exciting player to watch of his time, dunking over people, dunking over the 7-footer in the Olympics. You know, we used on the Nets with Richard Jefferson and the crew. I believe he's a Hall of Famer, but I don't. When you say GOAT, that's greatest of all time. When I'm thinking of a GOAT pyramid, I'm thinking about the top 50 players of all time. And honestly, I feel like players right now are better than him. I feel like James Harden is already better than him. I feel like Kawhi Leonard is already better than him. So I don't want to put him on this list. I also feel like I feel like Chris Webber is better than him. Players like Chris Mullin, I feel like, are better than him. I feel like Tim Hardaway Jr., Gary Payton are better than him. So I would take Vince Carter off this list. Not saying he's not a great player, but saying the fact that he's not a GOAT. And he's a first ballot Hall of Famer in my book, but she should be left off this list. Other than that, everyone in tier 5, I agree with. Tier 4, we're going to start with Karl Malone. I do not agree with Karl Malone being tier 4, as Karl Malone is the third? I think Kobe passed him. He's the third greatest scorer of all time. He was part of probably the second best to the best 1-2 punch in NBA history with him and John Stockton. Multiple 20 and 10 seasons. Scoring machine, no one could stop him. Mailman dunk. Probably the best player in Utah Jazz history. The only blemish on his record that he never won a chip. But with that being said, he ran into Michael Jordan. So everyone who runs into Michael Jordan ended up not getting a chip, or they had to get a chip when he was not there. So I believe he should be tier 3. I believe Karl Malone should be tier 3. In my book, he's better than Kevin Garnett, and he is better than Dirk Nowitzki, even barring him not having a championship ring. With that being said, Kevin Garnett, I agree with him being tier 4. Isaiah Thomas, even though he revolutionized the game in the 80s and the early 90s, he was considered probably the best dribbler, one of the best dribblers in his tenure. I believe he should be in tier 4. Dwayne Wade, I accept that at tier 4. The Admiral, at his time, he was a great, but I feel like there's the other bigs on this list are better than him. Either his teammate being included, Tim Duncan. I feel like Tim Duncan is better than him. The Big O, even though he averaged a triple-double, the other people on the list are straight out just better than him. So I agree with that. Now, Steph Curry. I know I said I agree with this earlier, but looking at this pyramid, I might have to move him up to tier 3, better than Charles Barkley and better than all these. Because you're talking about a 2-time unanimous MVP, multiple 50, 40, 90 seasons, multiple 30-point seasons. Even though he does not have a Finals MVP, he's a 3-time NBA champion. He hasn't won a Finals MVP. Greatest 3-point shooter of all time. Probably, arguably, as of right now, he's probably the greatest point guard of all time. It's just, I don't know. Steph Curry is weird. I feel like Steph Curry, you had to wait till he retired before you really truly value his greatness, because you can't take away what he has done. He averages 30 in his sleep. He can pass the ball. He averages 5 or better assists every season. He was marred with injury earlier in his career. But for right now, I'm gonna move Curry up to tier 3. Charles Barkley, I agree with. Just the fact that like I said about the Admiral, all the bigs above him are better than him. And Jerry West, yes, he ran into Bill Russell. He lost in that finals. I agree with him. Tier 3 now. Now Dirk. What I said before about Karl Malone, I feel Dirk, as great as he is, I have him top 5 all time as my power forwards, probably top 5, maybe just outside the top 5, maybe top 7. He did win that one ring when they beat the Heat. Therefore, I do not believe he's better than Karl Malone. I feel like him and Kevin Garnett are on equal playing ground. When we talk about KG, the big ticket, we talk about Dirk, I feel like they're right here. They're right here. And he's not as great as they both are. They're nowhere near as good as Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan is a consummate pro. He multiple championship winner, Finals MVPs, average 30, does everything. Probably one of the greatest winners in NBA history. So I can't put Dirk on that list. So I will have to move Karl Malone up and Dirk down. I know I'm talking a lot about winning here, and Karl Malone didn't do a lot of winning championships, but it's just the scoring and the dominance that Karl Malone did at his time is just far significant better than Dirk's. Because there's a point in time where Karl Malone was probably, everyone knows Michael Jordan's the greatest player of all time, but there's arguments that Karl Malone might be the best player in the league. Because just the way that he could score the ball, he defended, how dominant he was. With that being said, we're going to move next to Tim Duncan, who I do not believe should be tier 3. I feel like Tim Duncan should be tier 2. Top 3 at your position, maybe the best at your position, but there's just a couple people that are way just astronomically better in basketball. So with that being said, Tim Duncan, the best power forward of all time. He's the best power forward of all time. I don't care what anyone says. Mr. Fundamental. He can shoot the mid-range, shoot his free throws. He has post moves, even though he only does that ugly-ass right-hand hook. It goes in, so it works. I feel like he should be tier 2. He's the best power forward of all time. He definitely should be tier 2. This list has slighted him in that. Julius Erving, I agree with Kevin Durant. Tricky one, because if Kevin Durant loses this year and he goes somewhere else, he never wins again. I believe he's a tier 3 on the GOAT pyramid. He's still probably the most explosive or best scorer in league history. Being 7 foot with a jump shot, can shoot from 30, can get to the basket, can do all those things, shoot his free throws at a great percentage. But everyone above him are great winners. And while having those great numbers, all of them have averaged 30 or more, or has done spectacular things. They're great winners along with it. And Kevin Durant, his one slight, even though he is a winner, he's a 2-time NBA champion, 2-time Finals MVP. He was kind of handicapped. Not handicapped. He was given a handicap with being on the Golden State Warriors. So I feel like if he was to, go to, say, New York next year, if he wins this year and then go to New York next year and wins, I would probably catapult KD all the way up to tier 1. If he was to win this year and never win again, I would probably pick him up to tier 2. Because the Warriors aren't the Warriors right now. They don't look the same. They're a little marred with injury. Steph Curry got a bum ankle. Klay Thompson got a bum ankle. Although he's still playing with the intensity, I feel like Draymond is not the same Draymond he was 2-3 years ago. So with that being said, I'll keep KD at tier 3 right now. But if he wins this year, I feel like he's tier 2. If he wins this year and leaves and doesn't win again, I still believe he's tier 2. But if he wins this year and then goes to, say, New York and teams up with either Kyrie or Kemba or Jimmy, or maybe like a Tobias and a Kemba, or whatever New York has planned, or maybe go to the Clippers with Kawhi. I feel like if he does that and he brings one of those franchises who has been relatively irrelevant, practically irrelevant, has been irrelevant for my whole lifetime, I feel like that will catapult him to tier 1. Tier 3 is Bill Russell, probably the greatest winner of all time. I agree with that. I don't like to bring this up because this is a hypothetical and it could be swayed on both sides of the spectrum. The time he played, this might come back up again when we talk about Wilt. The time he played in the time where there wasn't that many centers. There were not people my size. I'm 6'11". We're not a lot of 6'11", 7 foot people walking around in the NBA. People dribble with one hand. There was no 3-point lines. A lot slower game. No 3 seconds part of his career. So as a winner, I will keep him as tier 3. As a player, I would keep him as tier 3 because I feel like the players above him are a lot better than him. And what I was saying about both sides of the spectrum, because a lot of people look at stats and they'd be like, oh, Bill Russell only averaged 15 and 15. How is he so great? Why is there trophies named after him? It's because the game has changed, like, in a way that James Harden can average 36 right now, but he's a great player. He's an all-time great player. I'm not taking anything away from him. But as his stats, his scoring is greatly enhanced by the time in which we play, where it's a lot of 3 balls, it's a lot faster paced game, there's a 14-second shot clock after a missed shot, which leads to more possessions. There's more fouls being called now, so there's a lot more people going to the line. So the game has changed, and the way the game has catered to scoring, so the stats are inflated. Not taking anything away from them because they're still outstanding. They can do what they do. I'm just saying we cannot ignore that fact. Next, we're going to Larry Bird. I believe Larry Bird should be tier 2, along with Magic Johnson. To me, they are equal. Like Dirk and KG, I feel like Magic and Bird are equal like this. So I believe Bird should be tier 2. Probably the greatest white basketball player of all time, the Great White Hope. He's not as good as a GM or a president as he is a basketball player, but I believe he should be tier 2. Probably the most blasphemous thing put on this list is Lou Alcindor, aka Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, aka the Skyhook, aka the most points in NBA history, aka the most unstoppable person in NBA history, is tier 3, which I really do not understand. I can see what they're saying, kind of, because although he was unstoppable and he had the unstoppable skyhook that no one could stop, the players above him were a lot more flashy, a lot more dominant, a lot more like they're Showtime, so it caters to the eye better. So if you ever watch basketball and say you see a flashy person get 20, right? Like Stephen Curry gets 20 and Draymond Green gets 20. Stephen Curry's 20 is going to look a lot more pretty than Draymond Green's 20. So what I'm saying is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a little boring to watch. It's a lot of hook, a lot of putbacks and stuff like that. But Shaq is and Hakeem or Showman, Magic's a showman. They make you go, wow, I've never seen something like this before. So I can understand to the eye test, you can say they're better. But realistically, under a basketball standpoint, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is, some people argue he's better than Jordan. People argue he's better than LeBron. He has to be tier 1. There's no way that you can put people that he influenced and people that go to him for help and recognize him as the greatest, but put him under him. I'm sorry, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is tier 1. Now to tier 2. Hakeem Olajuwon, I entirely agree with. Kobe Bryant should be tier 1. I don't care what people gotta say about Kobe don't pass the ball. Kobe don't do this. Kobe didn't win without Shaq. Kobe can't win without Shaq. Shaq carried him. No, that's all bullshit. People just like to hate on Kobe about how cocky he is. People like to hate on Kobe because they say he's a Jordan clone, but he never was really Jordan. People like to look like at advanced statistics, PER rate and usage rate. I believe in that shit to an extent. I don't think Kobe was as much as a ball hog or as much as this, as much as that, as his stats book came him to be. Kobe literally put the Lakers franchise on his back for a good 10 years. And they ran him into the dirt by the end of his tenure. He averaged greater than 30 on multiple seasons. To me, he was robbed of 2 MVPs by Steve Nash. Even though the Suns were amazing that year, Steve Nash averaged about 15 and 10 or something like that. Kobe averaged 37 and like 35 those 2 years. And he brought a lackluster Laker team with what, Smush Parker and Chris Mahim to the playoffs. You cannot ignore that. People say, oh, you didn't win without Shaq. You didn't win until you get Powell. What was he working with? What was he working with? People say, oh, look at LeBron, what he did with that Cavs team. LeBron still had an all-star. LeBron had a guaranteed 20 or 18 and 10 from Kevin Love. Kobe Bryant on that team did not have a guaranteed more than 15 points per game score on that team. I'm sorry. Tristan Thompson, much of people say he's garbage. That's a guaranteed 5 and 12. LeBron's Cavs team are way better than Kobe's Lakers team, and you can crucify me, you can argue with me in the comments, but that's just the fact of the matter. Kobe belongs tier 1. Shaq, I don't even have to argue this, Shaq has to be tier 1. Shaq is the most dominant player to ever come into the NBA. Shaq is tier 1. Magic Johnson, he's tier 2 along with Larry Bird. Wilt Chamberlain, 50 and 30, 50 and 20. Although, like I said, he played in the league where there was no 3 seconds. He's 7'2", 7'1", and he's playing against a bunch of 6'5", 6'6" people. There's no 3 seconds. You're standing and paying you dunk. But you can't ignore the fact that he averaged 50 for a whole season. He averaged about 20 to 30 rebounds for a whole season. He scored 101 points. Wilt Chamberlain is definitely tier 1. Now, when we come to tier 1, we have a problem. Tier 1, LeBron James, right? I agree with that. Tier 1, Michael Jordan. I'm sorry what you got. I'm sorry. But Michael Jordan is not tier 1. I don't care what nobody says. Michael Jordan is not a tier 1 basketball player. Now, when talking about pyramids, right? In college, in my sociological theory class, we learned about with every pyramid it has the tiers, like we just went through right now, and then it has, you know, the top 5 percentile, and we have the bottom top percentile. When we talk about like a political triangle or a social triangle, there's the top 5 percenters, the billionaires and everything like that that aren't accounted for, the ones that really run the world, and then we have the under 5%, which is like the illegal, like the drug dealers that help hold the rest of the pyramid up. So, me personally, I believe LeBron and Michael Jordan are 1A and 1B in my eyes, but I still believe LeBron dominated the NBA, but nobody dominated the NBA like Michael Jordan did. Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. And people always like to argue stats and things like that, but if we're arguing stats, why isn't Kareem the best of all time? Or Michael, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, he's going to do that. But the reason why people say Michael Jordan is the greatest is because the way he dominated the game, the way that people were scared to guard him, the way that no one could beat him when it counted. Yes, he lost to the Magic. Yes, he lost to the Pistons. Yes, he's not perfect in the playoffs. He didn't lose. It's not like he didn't lose a playoff game his whole career. Yes, he went through his ups and downs. But when it counted, when the games were on the line, the last shots against the Jazz, everything, Michael Jordan dominated. He averaged 30 for more of his career. He dominated in college. It's just, he's the most dominant, best basketball player, the most sought after basketball player, the most influential basketball player, the most affluent basketball player to ever touch a basketball. That is why, to me, he's the GOAT. Yes, LeBron may catch him because LeBron is just as marketable. We all want to be like him. We all look at him. We all try to emulate his game in some way. There's no way that you can say LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. So with that being said, I will put Michael Jordan in the top 5 percentile as the greatest player of all time. Probably tier 0, something like that. So I'm gonna run down my list again. I have top 5 percentile. I got Jordan as the best. Then I have I think LeBron James, Kobe, Wilt, Shaq, and Kareem. Tier 2 I have Hakeem, Larry, Duncan, Bird. That's a Magic. Tier 3 I have Karl Malone, Julius Erving, Kevin Durant, Bill Russell, and Karl Malone, if I didn't say that already. Tier 3 I have Dirk, KG, Isaiah Thomas, Dwayne Wade, the Admiral, Stephen Curry for now. Maybe I can move Steph Curry up to tier 3 or tier 2. He's confusing. I just don't know with him. It's just, I think he might be tier 3. I might move him up to tier 3. Sir Charles, Jerry West. And finally, the last one, John Stockton, Clyde, the 3 niggas I don't know, Scotty, AI. I eliminate Vince Carter, and I might even eliminate Steve Nash. Nah, I'm gonna keep Steve Nash in there. So that is my GOAT pyramid chart. I feel like this chart is all over the place. I feel like this chart is a result in the now, other than a result of the entirety and the influence and the actual statistics and everything of the game of basketball from over the years. But with that being said, Hoopla gang, your boy B Hoopla out. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Got the golden ticket, you can call me Willy Wonka. I've been in my bag. Hey, baby, I've been popping tags.